All right, here we go, and welcome into the show, and a good morning to everybody out there. You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr., and we have another roster addition to talk about for San Francisco as the Niners are signing a safety here on day 2 of free agency. According to Jeremy Fowler, NFL insider for ESPN, free agent safety Richie Grant headed to the 49ers on a one-year deal. The former second-round pick by Atlanta now heading out to the Bay Area. A lot of thoughts on this, and we have some significant news on the Jordan Mason front as well. Before we do all of that, we're going to be live a little bit later today, right here on the 49ers Report. Appreciate everybody who tuned into the show yesterday. And whenever the Niners make a move, whenever there's big news out there, I have you covered right here on the show, so be sure to lock us in. Hit that subscribe button as we're closing in on 160,000 subscribers. So let's talk Richie Grant to San Francisco. Yesterday, a little bit of a reckoning for the Niners. They are ushering in a new era going into the 2025 season, and we'll remember Monday, March 10th, 2025, as a big day as far as a shift in this organization's history, with the 49ers moving on from the likes of Kyle Juszczyk, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga, Charvarius Ward, trading away Deebo Samuel, Elijah Mitchell going elsewhere. And John Lynch wasn't lying when he said at the NFL Combine back a couple of weeks ago in Indianapolis, we want to get younger on this roster, and we want to clear up some salary cap space. The Niners did not make any big moves yesterday. They signed a blocking tight end in Luke Farrell. They brought back Patrick Taylor, and now they're making another roster move on the periphery of this team and adding a depth piece to this 49ers roster going into the 2025 season. And you think about what the Niners have said, you think about what the Niners are doing, this is a pretty major reset/rebuild for San Francisco. And while they still have a lot of star players on this team, they are not close, in my opinion, to the likes of some of the top contenders in the NFC. But they do have some needs on this team. Offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, they need another corner, and they needed another safety. They've added a backup tight end. I still think they need to address the wide receiver position. Running back depth could be a little bit of a concern depending on what happens with Jordan Mason, but safety depth is something that they needed to address in free agency and or in the NFL draft. What I think San Francisco is going to do, they let Talanoa Hufanga walk. He went to the Denver Broncos. He got paid 3 years, $45 million, $15 million per year. Him and Dre Greenlaw teaming up to go to the Mile High City to play for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. And so with Hufanga leaving, this safety tandem in 2025 is going to be Malik Mustafa going into year 2, Jair Brown looking to rebound going into year 3. And with this addition of Richie Grant, he's now going to be a depth piece at that safety position. Now, he does come to the Niners with a little bit of pedigree here. He was a former second-round pick out of Central Florida a few years ago. And the skinny on Richie Grant, 27 years old, he was drafted 40th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. So that's just outside of the first round. He has been a very durable player, has not missed a game in 4 seasons. He's played in 67 games, 33 starts. He does have some decent ball skills and instincts on that back end. And the 49ers really like defensive backs who put up solid pass breakup numbers because it shows them that they're able to make plays on the football. And so in 33 starts, 67 games, Grant does have 17 career pass breakups. He has 3 interceptions and 4 forced fumbles. So he's been able to make some big plays, but checking out analytically, he has struggled a little bit. And I want to go game-by-game breakdown here for Grant. So in 2021, the Falcons listed him as a defensive back, not as a safety. And he was an older rookie coming into the NFL, so 24 at the time. And despite him not being vastly experienced, him going into year 5. That's why he is 27 years old right now. So comes into the league at 24. As a rookie in 2021, he plays in all 16 games. 2 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, and he had 35 combined tackles, 28 solos, 2 TFLs. 2022, he plays in 17 games. He starts 17 games. He had 2 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, 123 combined tackles, 70 solo, 3 TFLs, 1 quarterback hit. Solid numbers there from an overall production standpoint. And after he starts every game in his second year, year 3, plays in all 17 games, starts 15 of them, had an interception, had 6 pass breakups after he had 7, 2 forced fumbles, and 103 combined tackles. So that's back-to-back years there with more than 100 tackles and 6 or more pass breakups, some forced fumbles in there, and that's 3 combined interceptions in the 2 years where he was a primary starter. Then Raheem Morris becomes the head coach for Atlanta. He's a defensive guy, and so there's a regime change in Atlanta. They had already fired the defensive coordinator under Raheem Morris for the 2024 season, and in 2024, Grant did play in all 17 games, but only 1 start. And so he was relegated to more of a backup role, and because of that, the production wasn't really there. I do want to take a look, though, and give you his 2023 Pro Football Focus grades from when he started 15 games and played in 17. They weren't great. Overall grade of 51.5. He did have a pass rush grade of 76.6, but not really utilized in that manner a lot. A run defense grade of 62.5. That's still in the green. A coverage grade of 42.4. Not that good. That ranked 159th out of 174 safeties in 2023. And then in 2024, again, limited workload here, played in all 17 games, more of a special teams guy, so he can add that value to the Niners this year. Overall PFF grade of 37.7, pass rush grade 56.9, run defense grade 49.2, coverage grade of 42.5. But I'll mention it again, like safety depth is a need for the 49ers, especially after losing Talanoa Hufanga. The Niners are trying to make affordable moves and additions to their team and maximize these players so they get good bang off the buck. And you can't be trotting out a player like George Odom at that safety position and giving him significant snaps. He's a really good special teams player. He's not a good safety. And I think the thinking here is that when you bring in a defensive coordinator like Robert Saleh, he can maximize players. He can develop players. He can put them in a position to succeed. And you think about a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, they have taken a lot of chances on players who came into the league with high draft pedigree. And either their teams didn't re-sign them or they didn't work out with those respective teams. The Eagles have been willing to bank and trust their player development program, bring those players in, thinking we can get that player on the right road. We can get that player back on track. And the 49ers might have that thought process here with Grant. And so while he doesn't have great production, Richie Grant has played a lot. He fulfills, at the very least, a depth need. He can be a rotational safety, and he can give San Francisco some special teams help. As for Jordan Mason here, the 49ers overnight signed restricted free agent running back Jordan Mason to a second-round tender. They placed a second-round tender on him, I guess is the proper verbiage there. And so with the 49ers giving Mason a second-round tender, according to Adam Schefter, that means that if a team wants to sign Mason, the 49ers can either match that offer and keep him, or the 49ers can let him leave, and the team that signs him has to give the 49ers a second-round pick. I have talked a lot about this possibility. This is the 49ers utilizing the NFL rules to their advantage. Now, players with second-round tenders rarely get signed because that means the team is paying that player the salary that is designated, and they're giving up a second-round pick. But teams who are desperate for a running back or teams who might look at Jordan Mason and really like him might go that route. So players with second-round tenders rarely get signed. So Mason will likely end up signing the 49ers tender offer and playing with the 49ers for a salary of $5.3 million. If another team wants to sign him, they have to match that offer and give the 49ers a second-round pick. So clearly John Lynch values Jordan Mason. They're willing to pay him as a backup running back $5.3 million in 2025. And I think that's something that is needed for this team. Christian McCaffrey is in his late 20s. He's coming off a season where he barely played, bilateral Achilles tendonitis, PCL injury. Isaac Rendo is always hurt. They brought back Patrick Taylor yesterday on a one-year deal. He's more of a special teams guy. And so, at the very least, Mason will be back. And if he's back with the Niners, it'll be on that base salary of $5.3 million. If another team wants to bring him in, they have to forfeit a second-round pick to San Francisco. That would be a win for the Niners if they can get a second-round pick back for Jordan Mason. On top of them getting all of these compensatory picks. And as we know, Mason originally signed by the Niners as a UDFA in 2022. He's played out his 3-year rookie contract, which is why he's now a restricted free agent. And last year, you saw that he can be a high-end starting caliber running back in this league. And if the 49ers are bringing in Luke Farrell, they're going to run more 12 personnel, 2 tight end packages. They traded away Deebo Samuel. They're already regretting the Brandon Ayuk deal. That tells me that if they can bulk up their offensive line, they can build this team around Brock Purdy. They can be a physical, downhill, heavy running team. And that's a way to win. The Eagles were the number 2 overall running team in the NFL. They won the Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley led the league in rushing. They won the Super Bowl. And so you can win with that style. Ground and pound, physical, and it probably plays into the hands of Brock Purdy where you don't really want him dropping back 35 to 45 times per game. And so a couple of roster moves San Francisco making here. First couple of days of free agency. We'll be live a little bit later today. Be sure to lock us in. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for your support of the show right here on the 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr.